Savage.
Number 2, depression and suicide run in my family.
You may not have heard of this. It's called generational depression and suicide. My grandmother Dixie, that's my mother Dixie in her lap, died by suicide. My mother found her. My great aunt, who's sitting next to the gentleman with the white beard, died by suicide. My mother and I found her. I was 4 years old. And I myself have come awfully close to dying by suicide. This is the face that I show the world every day. Walk through the world as if nothing is wrong. I have 2 mental illnesses. One is called major depressive disorder. It's more commonly known as depression. And I have a less common mental illness called chronic suicidality. What that means is, for people like me and my tribe, the option of suicide is always on the menu. A couple of years ago, my car broke down. I had 3 thoughts unbidden. 1, I'd get it fixed. 2, I could buy a new one. 3, or I could just kill myself. I know, doesn't that sound absurd? But that thought actually pops into my head. I'm married, I'm miserable. I'm selling insurance, I'm miserable. I'm not pursuing the career that I thought I was born to, comedy, and miserable. People all the time ask me, were you born funny? Yes, as a matter of fact, an amusing thing happened on the way down the birth canal. That is the career I believe I was born to, and I was not pursuing it, and I was depressed, and I was having thoughts of suicide. If I don't change my mind, I'm gonna lose my life. If I stay where I am, sooner rather than later, I'm gonna kill myself. It just bubbles up as an option all the time.
Alrighty, guys, welcome to the show. I am Michael Gardner, otherwise known as Savaged here. And guys, mental health should be on everyone's radar, right? A lot of people will question it. A lot of people will say, mental health is an illusion. It's a delusion. It's in the mind. It's not real. Folks, make it out to be whatever you want to make it out to be. But mental illness, guys, is very, very real and affects each and every one of us to a certain degree. Some of yous have high levels of mental illness, and some of yous very, very low. Some of us can channel it out. Some of us can filter it out. I, for example, have small levels of anxiety, very, very small levels of depression, but I can control my emotions. I've learned to over the course of the years and through the help of my parents when I was younger. Joe, it's a touching subject, mental illness, but it needs to be discussed.
It is a touchy subject, and I think I've mentioned it on this show before. I don't talk about it much. I'm not happy about talking about it, but I feel I need to. I myself am a suicide attempt survivor. So, I've been there in a sense and done that, right? So.
Yeah. And Joe, before we bring our scheduled guest in, Mr. King, Frank King, known as the mental health comedian, there's a lot of questions I want to go into that,
Yeah, this is going to be one of those odd kind of touchy shows where he deals with mental health issues, but he's also a comedian. So we're going to tread that fine knife's edge back and forth between fun, humor, and seriousness. I wasted most of my jokes in the TikTok exclusive lead-in. I'll probably repeat some of them.
Yeah.
Like the show title, A Matter of Life or Death, right? If it's a matter.
Warning, this show contains strong language, brutal opinions, and zero apologies given. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Welcome to Savaged Unfiltered, where truth gets raw, opinions stay real, and nothing is off limits. This isn't your average podcast. It's the unfiltered conversation you've been craving. Politics, culture, chaos, we're diving into it all. No scripts, no safe spaces, just savage takes and real talk. You're in the right place. Strap in. It's time to get unfiltered.
Savage.
I have no idea if my channels are streaming or not today. It was giving me a hard time to log in. So, anyway.
What a hell of an opening, Joe.
Fucking restreamed.
Joe, that's supposed to be like, worry about that, like, off air. But anyway, welcome into the show. I figured Joe would open us up, but he's worried about like, this fucking restream. But yeah, guys, we got a good one for you today. First and foremost, before we start, Joe, I want to give flowers to where it's due. I want to say thank you to a really, really awesome company. They've been partnering with us for quite some time, actually. Dude Wipes. I love them, guys. And I actually have some Dude Wipes right here. If you guys could see them. Yeah, I used a couple this morning. But these things they're great, Joe. Dude Wipes, man, like they're minty. They have like really nice like oils.
I got the search commercial in my head. Two mints in one.
That's right. Do you use Dude Wipes, Joe? They're very popular.
No, I don't. I don't have your level of disposable income.
Oh, well, they are disposable, yes. But no, the reason why I asked, Joe, is because these things are popular with senior citizens such as yourself.
Touche.
Like you guys usually, all right, you have like a little. Your stools are usually runnier than hard.
I can either afford the Dude Wipes or the Preparation H, and I need the Preparation H more. These are jokes, people, jokes.
They're bad jokes, Joe. You shouldn't be a comedian at all. You would get no laughs. The punchline. Where the hell is the punchline, Joe?
It's like our guest too is an expert on TED Talks. I do the Rodney Talk circuit, where I get no respect at all.
No respect, huh? What the hell?
And for the audience, the younger shit talk audience who don't get the joke, rent the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
That's right. He was a great comedian. He really was. He was my all-time favorite. Him and George Carlin. But other than that, we don't have George Carlin on or Dangerfield, because
we'll have to do a seance.
They're no longer with us, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to do a seance one day and try to channel them.
Yeah. So today we have a guest that goes by the name of the mental health comedian. Now, mental health and comedy, that's a wild mix, isn't it, Joe?
Oh, it sure is. And as I joked before we went live, you want Frank King for your event, not his impersonator, Frank Drag Queen. Thump.
Again, Joe, stop with the jokes. You're killing the audience, by the way. So anyway, without further ado, this is Mr. Frank King, known as the mental health comedian. Welcome, Frank. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, kids.
Hey. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Frank. How'd you get into comedy? Aside from your background.
Fourth grade. Told my first joke. Kids laughed. Teacher was hysterical. She was laughing so hard she had to excuse herself to go to the teacher's lounge.
Oh my God.
I know. I asked her years later when I bumped into her at the grocery store, Mrs. Dark, why'd you go to the teacher's lounge? She goes, Frank, I was laughing so hard I was afraid you'd misinterpret the laughs that break your heart. So I went down. And then she said, what are you doing for a living now? I said, I'm a comic. She goes, duh. So 9 years old, fourth grade, 12th grade, they had a talent show. Nobody had ever done stand-up before. So I did stand-up at the talent show. And I won. Of course, I beat the accordion player and the folk dancers. Not a big victory, but still a victory nonetheless. And I told my mother I'm going to LA to be a comic. And my mother was big on education. She said, no, son, you're going to college first. I don't care what you do when you get done. You can be a goat herder for all I care, but you're going to be a goat herder with a college degree. So I went to UNC Chapel Hill, picked up a couple college degrees, bolted for the West Coast.
Yeah, it sounds like you're from the South from your accent. Did you grow up in a Southern household?
Yes. Born in Raleigh, school in Chapel Hill.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Charlotte area. Okay. Yeah. I know that area very well. Yeah.
So was there literally a chapel on the hill?
There must have been at some point, Joe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I know you meant that to be a joke, but comedy's not that easy, Joe. Yeah, and you guys notice he was heckling me before I got here. That's the only way to safely heckle a comic who's been doing
yeah. Well,
39
he's
years.
testing you, Frank, to see if you're actually, a real comedian or one of those fly by the night ones. Because we've had a couple comedians on the show that seem to be like a fly by the hour where they didn't get the.
Well, these are indeed just jokes, people, right? Like the following. Frank, let me be totally earnest with you. I don't like you. Jokes, people, jokes.
Yeah, I that would be. I'm not sure. Yeah.
He's trying to marinate that.
I stumped the comic.
Well, I just didn't want to be unkind.
Yeah. No, go right ahead.
Yeah.
It's unfiltered. Yeah.
If your dick was as big as your mouth, you'd have a date tonight. They shouldn't say that. Anyway,
So, yeah.
12th grade, college, and then April 1st, 84, there's a branch of the Comedy Store in San Diego. I did my first open mic night. Halfway through my 5 minutes, I heard a voice inside my head that said, "You're home."
Okay.
So I decided at that moment.
Why did you hear the voice in your head saying that you're home?
Because I was born, I believe I was born to do comedy. I believe that's where I belong.
Yeah.
And I also decided at that moment I was going to do it full time. Fortunately, I had no idea how hard that was. 18 months later, I said to my girlfriend, now my wife of 38 years, I'm going on the road to be a comic. You want to come along for the ride? Figuring she'd go, hell no. She goes, yeah. So we gave up our apartment and our jobs. We jumped into my little Dodge Colt. And we were on the road together 2,629 nights in a row, nonstop, no home, 7 years and change.
Wow.
And worked with Dangerfield, Robin Williams, Seinfeld, Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Ken
Some
Jones.
big names there. Yeah. Okay.
Back when they were just comics, they were just road comics. Foxworthy, Ron White. Opened up for the Beach Boys, Randy Travis, Lou Rawls, 2 nights at the Hotel Del Coronado. You'll never find another lover like mine.
You resemble like a spinoff, and please take this with respect. A Jim Varney, Ernest P. Worrell with the hat, and I mean you're almost identical.
Yeah, I get
you don't
that.
see that.
I get that all the time. Hey, Vern. Also I look a lot like Mark Harmon. Also, and he was the sexiest man alive 20 years ago, so I must be in the top 10 somewhere. Anyway,
I remember Mark Harmon. Yeah, you do look like him a little. Yes, and Mark Harmon, I think, was from the Detroit area. So,
yeah, and that day after the road, I did 10 years on the road, and then got invited to be a co-host on a morning show in Raleigh, my old hometown. And so I said, sure. And it was #1 morning show in Raleigh. And in 18 months, I drove that show to #6. And a friend of mine said, you didn't just drive it into the ground. You drove that in the Middle Earth, which I did. And then my manager, as he was firing me, and we're still friends, he's a great guy. It hurt him to fire me. He said, you can go back on the road. I said, there is no road. I mean, the clubs are closing faster than their openings, but my act was clean. So I thought I could do corporate comedy. And people ask me, what's the difference between a club comic and a corporate comic? About $5,000 a night plus travel. So I'm no math major. I did that for 10 years until the last recession. And we lost everything in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And that's when I learned what the barrel of my gun tasted like. Spoiler alert, I did not pull the trigger. A friend of mine thought it'd be funny. He came up after a keynote one day. He goes, hey, man, how come you didn't pull the trigger? I said, hey, man, could you try to sound slightly less disappointed? So,
okay.
That's where the funny is in speaking on suicide prevention. Not jokes, but funny personal anecdotes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
So
so
that's how.
so more or less, you use the background of the mental health as more or less as a humor, therapeutic scenario, more or less to uplift from all that, right? That's kind of like what I'm getting at a little bit.
Yes, it's they call it comic relief for a reason. It's a very difficult topic, and so if I can leaven it with some well-placed, organic, tasteful, personal anecdotes, it makes it a lot easier for the audience to digest all the death and dying. In my first TEDx talk, I said to the audience, I did some research on TEDx on talks on suicide. I went to
Mm.
TED.com and I figured maybe 3-4 dozen talks on suicide. Turns out there were only 3 talks on suicide. And then it
Oh,
hit
wow.
me. Yeah, well, if you're really good at suicide, you're probably not going to be recording a TEDx talk. That's when they knew it was going to be a little different than your average suicide prevention TEDx talk. Is my grandmother killed herself with an old gas stove, and my great aunt killed herself with a old Loctite refrigerator. I said to my audience, "What the hell is it with me and my family and major appliances? Every time I go past Home Depot, I tear up." So that's where the funny is, and it gives the audience a little respite from the dark subject of.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned some other names you worked with. You said I think it was Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey. I want to go to Jim Carrey for a moment because Jim Carrey is known to get into a lot of the dialogue that you're mentioning. Um, as a comedian, do you agree with some of the ideologies that he's bringing in, more political and stuff like that, or?
How do you mean bringing him?
Well, he did something recently that was featuring Donald Trump with a lot of the culture, right? You see a lot of comedians like Rob Schneider now being obviously blacklisted from Hollywood. No one wants to work with him for his political narratives. Do you find that to be risky, even as a comedian and a personality in that
Oh,
aspect?
absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's if you Rob Schneider, before he opens his mouth, he's already alienated 50% of the population. So I admire political comics because it's a very narrow niche, and you pretty much have to pick one side or the other. And when you do pick one side, you are saying to the other, "I don't care if you come to my show, buy tickets, buy my merchandise." So it's there's a guy named Will Durst who I worked with a number of times, who's a very liberal comic. What's his name? Lewis Black. Went to Carolina, by the way, same time I did. We didn't know each other, but he was there. He's very liberal, obviously. So he's not going to be booking CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Committee conference. But still, I admire, it's hard to make a living as a comic talking politics. It's because you eliminated half your. And in the corporate world, you don't do any politics, any religion, anything sexual. Otherwise, you don't get booked because, again, they're very sensitive about, you don't know who's going to be in the audience at a association conference.
Yeah.
And you don't want to alienate half.
Yes, that's why I brought it up because, obviously for Schneider, it's working perfectly for him. The audience seemed to love it, and which I find to be a modern day George Carlin. And I've said that to Joe numerous times. He has that shtick more or less.
And talk show hosts at night, we never used to know that. Johnny Carson, you didn't know his politics. Even Jay Leno was a balanced comic. He would make fun of everyone. We know his politics now, but then we didn't really know. But now the late night hosts, they're not a comedy show. They're a liberal propagandist show.
Well, I think it's important. Leno complained because the comics late night have picked a side, but Jay's time was very different. It was a time. So I wrote jokes for Leno for 20 years, and so it was a time when people could actually agree to disagree, and you could pick on people on both sides of the aisle, and that was kind of the way to do it That way you balance. Here's the problem. They say in radio, there's a radio expression. It's not what you said. It's not what they heard. It's what they thought they heard. And so they're filtering whatever joke it is through their
Own personal bias, yes.
Yeah, political view. And so you may have meant it and didn't mean it to be divisive. You didn't mean it to make fun of the Republicans. You just meant it to be funny, but that may not be, that may not be what they thought they heard. So, and Schneider and Dennis Miller before him, and what's the guy's name?
Yeah, I saw Dennis here in Detroit. He's funny. I didn't like him too well on Monday Night Football. It didn't quite fit well, but
yeah. But he looked at the market and he realized there were very few conservative comics. So he jumped the he jumped the liberal ship and became a conservative comic, and I'm sure he made a lot of money. Gutfeld, same thing. He's making a lot of money on the 5 on Fox. And then Rob Schneider, I mean, he's obviously made a financial decision that's, I don't know if he believes what he's saying or not, but certainly from a financial standpoint, he could fill an arena with people who are on that side of the political divide. The thing about the Republicans, they're the people that in the Republican Party, the rank and file, pretty much monolithic. They're a lot alike.
Tell that to the log cabin Republicans. We are actually the big tent party. It's the left that's in lockstep fascist crap.
Actually, I think the left, is a bigger tent because we again the way that is there are very few liberal radio stations. There are 600, 800 conservative radio stations. And the reason that is, I sold radio one summer. The reason that is their audience is monolithic. They know exactly who they are advertising to.
It's because Limbaugh was funny and Likas was a moron.
Limbaugh's goal in life was to be a sports broadcaster.
Yeah, and he tried to buy the St. Louis Rams and got blocked from it because of liberal politics. Yeah, the monolithic left who claim to be tolerant but are the least tolerant on the planet.
One of the reasons he failed was he was on Monday Night Football, and he said that the Eagles
McNabb.
They drafted Donovan because they needed to have a black quarterback. That's the only reason he was there, not because he was talented, not because So that was the end of his. But it's in the beginning, he was just a DJ, and then he wanted to be a sports DJ, and then that didn't work out, and then then he got into right wing politics, and again there were 600, 800 stations that carried him.
Yeah.
So that tells me that the buying public, Republican buying public, is monolithic. If you have a business and you advertise on a liberal station, you have no idea really who you're going to get. If you advertise on a conservative station, you have a pretty good idea what the demographic is.
Frank, you bring up some good points, and this is why I believe, and I'm not going to sound like a hypocrite out there, folks, but I do believe that certain dialogue of content should not mix with entertainment. And the reason for that is you're an entertainer. You're supposed to deliver laughs, goofs, and jokes. And who's to say that, comedy can't be something similar to a Rob Schneider or a George Carlin? George Carlin was known for political comedy. But this is exactly what I'm talking about here, guys. And I want to play this clip here. Check this out.
Hatred of immigrants, contempt for the truth, greed, and the abuse of power. We are fighting those same evils today.
Weeks in a row. We get Veterans Day. You fight for the country, you get a day. Thank you for fighting for the country. Oh, sorry, day's over. Take the meat off the barbecue.
It is the mark of a villain. Kidnapping children is not what great nations do. Almost half of America at this moment believes there is a sinister deep state diabolically plotting to what? give them health care.
George Washington, who founded the whole f***ing country, he doesn't get a day either. He's going to share it with Lincoln. But if they would have sucked each other's dicks, they would have got a whole month. That's all I'm saying.
Those who remind us of our virtues, who remind us of the truth.
So basically what I'm saying is, are they comedians, or are they turning into damn near politicians? Because that's what I see right now, and it's dangerous. It is. That's just my personal opinion on that.
It's it's been that way since Lenny Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
He was very much anti whatever the administration was at the time, to the point where he got arrested several times for telling a dirty joke on stage. Cops in the back watching. As soon as he said something about oral sex, they carted him off. To the point where he would say in his act, she got down on her knees and blawed his blah. So we all know what he's talking about, but he got away with it because he used the word blah instead of whatever it was. Yeah. No, I think it's political comedy.
Okay.
The canary line. Because they can't, because they use humor. And it's like the court jester. The court jester is the only one to get away with telling the king the truth, or the king and queen the truth, whatever, because they did it. They couched it in humor. Now, every now and then one got thrown down the moon hole, if you watch Game of Thrones. But, the average court jester survived into old age, I'm sure, in retirement, but they're the only ones that could get away with saying things that
you should be able to get away with those things, but the left-wing cancel culture, thankfully wokeism is dying and the cancel culture is going with it. But for a while there was, of course, people, you dare say anything against the left, you get canceled. Like Tom McDonald, the rapper, they're constantly trying to cancel him, but he's an independent artist. He goes, I don't need the record deal.
Well, there are people who deserve every culture has a cancel culture, and there are people who deserve to be canceled. What's the guy's name? Was exposing himself to female comics in the green room.
Louis C.K.?
Yeah, Louis C.K. I mean, you can't be. Yeah.
Well, he was an asshole. Yeah. I mean, he was a slightly funny-ish at times. His TV show was reasonable, but yeah, exactly. I mean, that's canceled for whole other reasons.
Well, there's a reason why comedians and actors like Schneider and Jim Carrey, and I don't want to say Sandler, because Adam Sandler seems to be centered. He doesn't let political views affect his craft of work, whether it's on a movie set or a comedy. At least I don't see it that way. Why do you feel that they are going to that approach? I mean, it's almost like similar to what you've done with TED Talks, like going on stage and more or less speaking in that political tongue, more or less than their actual regular persona of comedy. Why are they going that way?
Because the society is divided into two large groups.
Okay.
Left and right. And if there were not a market for political comedy in late night television, they wouldn't be doing political comedy in late night television. But there is a market for it. You don't watch a television show, you don't listen to a podcast to challenge your worldview. You listen to it to reinforce your worldview. And so the people who listen to the late night
bias, yes,
confirmation bias, exactly.
Too much of that, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, and there's a market for, there's a huge market for conservative radio. Obviously, that's why there's 600, 800 stations, and there's really no market for liberal radio, because there's maybe a handful. It's
become really radicalized, in my opinion. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm not just saying that. Obviously, folks, I am a conservative media personality here, including Joe as well. But, every time you turn on TV or social media, the violence, the mayhem, the chaoticness comes out of it. And like you just mentioned, that's why there's not a...
Yeah. Well, I mentioned Lycus before, and I listened to his show because I don't constantly only seek confirmation bias. There's too many people that do that. I liked, no pun intended, the Lycus show. He was reasonably entertaining, although an ultra leftist. But I was upset when his show was taken down, but there was no market for it.
No, there was a time where I thought, even comedian Rosie O'Donnell was funny, but I mean, she's going on to that bandwagon of this political crap, such as a Carrie, such as others that are, in my opinion, Frank, they're not benefiting their craft of comedy or acting. They're damaging it. People don't see Rosie O'Donnell as funny anymore. People don't see Whoopi Goldberg from The View funny anymore because of where they're taking their personalities at.
Well, Rosie committed, maybe the guest, Frank, do you agree or not? Rosie committed comedic suicide when she did that bad Flintstones film.
Yeah, that was definitely a mistake.
So let's talk a little bit about, kind of going off the deep end of comedy of why it's going the way it is and maybe where it's going the way it is. Some of your background of mental health, right? You mentioned earlier in the video package, that you come from a family that is known for high levels of mental illness, including suicide. I think you said something where that is the first dive, more or less, in your family going into that direction. Why is that? Is it explain to my audience, because it come from you more than me. It come better from you.
Yeah, it's generational depression and suicide. It's a thing. I've got a friend who's a therapist, and she has a client, and that goes back 4 or 5 generations in their family. The generational depression and suicide. We're hardwired for it.
It's the real side of genetics versus the eugenics bullshit talk. Yeah,
it's nature, not nurture, in our family. It's people say, could you be cured of your depression and chronic suicidal ideation? No. However, I can live with it. I can treat it. I can, medication and a self-care plan. I can manage it.
That. Yes, thank God for
that. But in my family, it's it just runs in the family, and
it doesn't run in my family. But as I don't remember if I said it during the live part or the pre-TikTok lead-in. I myself am a suicide attempt survivor. So in my Terror Strikes book, there's a suicide prevention sub-thread in there and a comic relief chapter in there, right? Because no matter how serious things get, we got to try to maintain a sense of humor. As Cypress Hill sang, we'll go insane in the membrane, right?
Yeah. So my job is to help destigmatize it. My job is to go on stage, especially as a man, and be vulnerable. Men generally don't talk about that kind of thing, which is why 8 out of 10 people who die by suicide in the U.S. right now are men.
Yeah,
it's one of the big reasons. And my job is to go on stage and talk about it and give people permission to give voice to their feelings and experiences surrounding, in a safe environment. When they line up after I get done, sometimes 2 people, sometimes 10, to share a story, ask a question, because they know I'm not going to harsh on them, I'm not going to judge. It's
right.
Oftentimes the conversation starts like this: I've never told anybody this. Yeah, well, I get that a lot.
Yeah. Amen, brother. I hear you again. I'm not happy mentioning that I'm a suicide attempt survivor, but as you said, it's important to talk about it because others need to hear it.
Yeah, when I was preparing for my first TEDx talk, I realized hardly anybody, one person dies by suicide in the U.S. every 9 minutes, but hardly anybody talks about it unless you bring it up. And then pretty much everybody's got a story about themselves, a friend, a family member, something. So my mother would say, we don't talk about that in polite company. It's a conversational taboo.
Yeah. And it's like the group 22, right? The number changes a bit, but on average, 22 American vets a day take their own lives because they feel isolated and left behind, uncared about, and uncared for.
Yes. And part of the problem with the vets, by the way, because I've done some research on it, is it's not that they served in a war zone. It's the big risk factor for them is when they leave the military. They leave that structured environment where they're part of a cohesive unit. Somebody's at your
PTSD.
back. You have
It
one
fires
goal.
up.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the civilian world, nobody's got your back. There's not a unit. There's not one goal as there is in the military to keep the country safe. So that's a big factor, and they leave the military.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, we brought up earlier, I wanted to ask, but we were kind of going with other topics, and that's okay. I'll bring it up. There is some learning objectives that are basically presented on your website. And I want to
Yeah.
go through them here as I kind of pull it up. The learning objectives, folks, on Mr. King's website here, which you can go over to mentalhealthcomedian.com. And that is recognition, just to name a few, behavior, education, strategies. You just kind of went into and alluded the veteran education, which I love to have that. I see that on there and I love that. Understand special concerns and risk factors and related to military veterans. Now, explain that to my audience here, what you mean by that, and that one objective there, Frank.
Well, each group, because people ask me, is your keynote the same for everybody? It is the same. The learning objectives are the same. Roughly, the takeaways are roughly the same. The difference is each group that has high risk of suicide has different risk factors. For example, construction has the highest rate of suicide of any industry in the U.S. 1,000 people die by accident every year in construction. 6,000 die by suicide. You're 6 times more likely to jump off the building than fall off. And the risk factors there are different from the risk factors for veterans. In construction, it's seasonal work, supply chain problems, mostly tough people, guys, so they don't really share their thoughts. Injuries treated oftentimes with opioids. So there's a whole list, and the veterans have a separate list of risk factors, and dentists have a different risk factors. So I tweet each time for my audience, address the issues they're facing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you go into comprehension, the comprehension part, which is good too. It basically sets the relationship between the workplace and suicide attempts or suicidal attempts, for that matter, even in the workplace. High levels of stress, deadlines. I get it. Trust me. My other line of work, I do a lot of background extra acting, including other roles with production. And trust me, the deadlines with that, even on my behalf, is crazy, Frank. I don't know if I'm going to be in California one minute. I like to be where I'm at right now in the Atlanta area and just do everything in Atlanta. But that's entertainment, buddy. You should know that. It doesn't work that way. I'm sure you would like to be in Charlotte, Raleigh area, and it doesn't work that way for Mr. King. Mr. King could be anywhere, So break that down a little bit for us.
Well, by the way, Atlanta, a friend of mine who's got 125 television and movie credits.
Okay.
Left LA, moved to Atlanta. I'm like, Matt, why? And he said, Frank, there's more production in the Atlanta area than there is in LA.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So, yeah, it's
those Georgia credits. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia actually wants the business and makes, they're very, they're very financially friendly for production. North Carolina has quite a bit of production as well down the coast.
We have a few studios here in Michigan, mainly Christian ones, independent. But yeah, because Pure Michigan, the Tourism Bureau has some film credit things too to help promote tourism. And if you could see our beautiful, like Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve, that beautiful hotel on Mackinac Island, it'll promote tourism.
Yeah. Now, there's something here me, Frank, if you don't mind. We have a clip here that I actually got from Frank through some of his credits there. to his TikTok.
Uh-oh.
Excuse me, TikTok. TikTok crazy. It's in my head for some strange reason. Your TED Talk. Excuse me. Check this out, guys.
My glasses from 4th grade. Do you recognize the brand? They're Ray-Bans, which nowadays are very hip. But in 1962, not so much. That was the only choice for guys in 62. For women, they had those cat-eye glasses, a couple of colors, but that was it. Yeah, and I hated wearing them. I just, I mean, my mother dressed me, so I had a knit shirt, polyester pants, hush puppies. You add the Ray-Bans, that's pretty much head-to-toe birth control. A woman is not going to get anywhere near you dressed like that. So, but I mean, I am terribly nearsighted. My entire family, I thought if we ever did Ancestry.com, it would come back that we were all descended from a tribe of people that lived on the island of Mayo.
Nothing's just yeah. Why? You know, I like that whole bit you did there with the old school Ray-Bans, which back then
I recognize the Ray-Ban case.
Horrible, yeah.
I definitely recognize that Ray-Ban case.
Yeah.
Horrible, Joe. Like back in the 60s, you wouldn't want to wear them. And you didn't get different styles and categories you have now. And God, tell us a little bit about that backstory a little bit there, you know?
Well, the reason I did that, I was doing TEDx Scarsdale High School, and those glasses are the genesis of the first joke I ever told. The one that the teacher was hysterical for. See, I didn't want to wear the glasses, as I mentioned there, but she knew that I couldn't see the board. I'm terribly nearsighted. And so she thought the problem was that I was worried what the other kids would say when they saw my glasses. And she thought that let's tear the Band-Aid off. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. She got me to the front of the room, turned me away from the class, put my glasses on, turned me back to the class. She looks down at me and she says, "See, you look intelligent." And I looked up at her, first joke ever, looked up at her and said, "Yes, that would explain all the laughter." And yeah, and that's the moment I decided I was going to be a comic, and that's the moment she had to excuse herself. And I asked her, again, why'd you excuse it? She goes, "Frank, that was the funniest thing a child ever said to me before or after." So it's and my whole family's that way. My sister's funny. My mom was sort of I don't know if you remember Designing Women, but sort of a Dixie Carter, really dry, sarcastic. My uncle, Frank, got a young woman pregnant back in the probably late 40s, and being a Southern gentleman, he married her. We think she got pregnant on purpose, bless her heart, but he married her. But she would never admit, as the wedding drew near, that her weight gain was anything but. And she said this: if you ask about the weight gain, it's just a little edema. It's just a little edema, meaning she's retaining water.
Yeah.
So my mother, till the day she died, if you ask about that particular cousin, she would go, "Yes, how is little edema?"
Oh my God.
That would explain the water on the brain condition he has.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Frank, do you still have the glasses, by the way? I mean, on your TED Talks there, the screen, it shows. Yeah. So, okay. You bring them all over the place.
Yeah. I took that picture. I've got and Joe, I got the case as well. I got the glasses in the case. Now they're missing a lens or missing an arm or something, but I kept them because, they were horrible. But, I couldn't see the board. I mean, I would just, I got by for a couple of years, Joe, because they used to give eye tests at school.
Okay.
So I memorized it as I'm standing in line.
There you go.
Yes,
so the teacher was right. You were intelligent. You weren't a dummy.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
You mentioned before that it's a clear sign of birth control back in the 60s. Apparently not. It did a whole 190. You wear the big, satellite-looking things.
Nerdy is in now, right?
Yeah, man. You can pick up chicks like that now. They love it. Like
now I'm going to have that Weird Al song, White Nerdy, in my head.
You got the old school glasses, man. You should be picking up. Go, by the way, guys. Yeah, ladies out there, go on seniors.com or something if there's shit, man.
Well, and to circle back to political comedy, if I cannot do it because I make my living in the corporate world, and I mean there are certain events you could do, but you're limited either way. No matter which way you
just
lean, you're going to
not
limit yourself.
worth the attempt for you, right?
No, yeah, because it's when I sold radio and would write ads, you often write into the ad a disqualifier to drive away the people you do not want as customers. You there's a auto repair place, and I asked the owners, I'm writing a commercial. Well, tell me about the repair place. He goes, we're not the home of the 1990s because they don't want tire kickers. I said, well, what are you the home of? 24 month, 24,000 mile nationwide warranty. That's who they're looking for. Somebody who wants a warranty for 2 years nationwide and willing to spend the money. So with comedy, you pick one side or the other, it's a disqualifier. Look at what's his name? Vaynerchuk. Terry Vaynerchuk. He is profane. He drops the F-bomb all.
He's breaking up a bit.
Yeah. Hey, Frank. Let me pause right there. You're kind of breaking up. I don't know if you're getting some bad weather or whatever, but we'll come back to you in a minute. Let it clear up a little bit.
Well,
guys,
it's like.
Yeah, hang on, Joe. Hang on, Joe. You're actually hearing, guys, for those joining us on the live stream, the voice and the video imagery of Frank King, known as the mental health comedian. I just wanted to throw that in there. Hopefully, we can get Frank back in. I'm going to let him, let his connection clear a little bit. Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, it's like Michael Jordan when he was asked to endorse some Democrat candidates, and he said, "No, I'm not doing that." And asked why? Because Republicans buy shoes too, right? he stayed out of. He wanted to stay out of politics because of that, right? Right, Frank? I'm sure you've heard that story.
Oh yeah, and again, I admire political comics because it's a dangerous choice. I mean, you really have to be like Lewis Black's done very well.
Oh, and I love Louis, but he's very ultra leftist, but he's funny. I can appreciate his humor.
Well, and if I had FU money, I would be doing political comedy. I would be doing. I live in Oregon because you're not allowed to pump your own gas. Because I'm such a flaming liberal, I would explode.
I was going to say, that's what explains the Peterbilt, right? What's the whole Peterbilt hat there? You're wearing a Peter. Do you actually own a Peterbilt truck? Or?
No, it's something. My roommate in college gave me a Peterbilt hat right at the moment when I was going to go on the road doing stand up, and I wore it out.
Oh shit!
And decades later, my wife gave me an identical hat as an anniversary gift. And so I always appear on Zoom with this background, this shirt, this hat. So it's become part of my brand.
See, Joe, he's pulling an Ernest P. Worrell. I mean, I said that earlier in the show.
Well,
I mean, man.
This is your on-screen persona.
Yeah, always show up this way. I coach clients on how to make money speaking. I said, you need a brand. Mental health comedian is a brand. This is part of my brand. I have a little 1984 Toyota Tercel, which is part of my brand. Because one day I got the great idea. Comics all the time talking to themselves in the car, running jokes. So I put the phone up here, turned the camera around, and started riffing. And I created something called Tercel Talks, and I put it up on YouTube. And I'm in town like 2 days later, and somebody goes, "When are you going to put up the next Tercel Talk?" You like it?
Yeah. See, I mean, little things like that. They can catch
you
attention.
Never know what will go viral in this insane asylum of a planet these days.
No, and I've been talking into the rearview mirror for years, and I thought, this is and usually it was something that happened that day, so I was all fired. One day I was leaving the gym, I had to cross 4 lanes of traffic to make a very soon right turn. And it was like NASCAR. I saw the opening coming where I could get across all 4 lanes.
Yep.
So I got across all 4 lanes, pulled the stoplight where I was going to turn right, was patting myself on the back for the move, and I look in the rearview mirror, Springfield Police Department. So I'm thinking, was what I did legal? And the lights come on. Woo!
Yeah.
So So we kind of
So I,
figured this out, folks. I wanted to put this in here. How did a once suicide individual such as Frank King turn to comedy? So kind of
Well,
figured
a
it out.
lot, Robin Williams
Little
spoke.
side joke, guys. Little side.
Robin Williams spoke to that, right? And God rest his soul too. We lost him to suicide, and Christopher Reeves died shortly thereafter because they
All
were
the
close
greats,
friends.
Joe. All
Yeah,
the greats are
but
they're just dying,
a
man.
lot of people who deal. It's why I tell jokes, lame puns all the time. But yeah, depression. If you can make others laugh, it can help you feel a little better too.
well,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
what I say, Joe, is that I believe that my sense of humor, creativity, so forth, is just the flip side of my depression, thoughts, suicide. Same brain, same wiring. I can teach you to write, stand up, and perform it. I can't teach you to process the incoming information the way my brain does. And I thought everybody thought that way. I thought I was just beating people to the punchline out in public when something happened and I nailed the punchline.
Well, that's part of your condition. You said even on some of your sets, guys. Check this out. Some of the work that Frank had said throughout the course of his different TED talks and other appearances.
Number 2, depression and suicide run in my family.
You may not have heard of this. It's called generational depression and suicide. My grandmother Dixie, that's my mother Dixie in her lap, died by suicide. My mother found her. My great aunt, who's sitting next to the gentleman with the white beard, died by suicide. My mother and I found her. I was 4 years old. And I myself have come awfully close to dying by suicide. This is the face that I show the world every day. Walk through the world as
Yeah. So that's like, I know we kind of showed that though, but you get people that come into the live stream. So they're just trying to catch up. So that's basically your work. You've turned your past work, or excuse me, your past upbringing of a childhood into more or less public speaking / comedy in a way.
And the
It works for
comedy,
you, Frank.
the jokes write themselves in my head. It's now sometimes it's really mean. The really mean or dirty ones come instantly. The clean ones take some time. I was working a Carnival cruise ship doing stand up. I'm doing the Carnival cruise ship. It's morning. I'm headed for the Lido buffet. Haven't even had a cup of coffee yet, so my brain's at half speed. And there's a kid coming toward me with a tray, like a lunch tray or breakfast tray, piled high with food, and one set of silverware. And the kid's probably tipping the scales at least 300 pounds.
Oh my God.
And and he's wearing a sweatshirt that says WWJD. So without even trying, my brain goes, what would Jesus do? He'd have a fucking salad. And that just, the dirty ones, the mean ones just pop into the clean ones take a little longer.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Belushi. We didn't technically lose him to suicide, and Farley, just destructive lifestyles, because in the middle of the night, there's no audience, and those dark thoughts can't be broken up by the humor. There's no audience to get the laugh back from.
Yeah, you know what killed Farley? Was carrying David Spade on his back all those years.
Good joke. I like that joke.
Yeah, I didn't write it, but it is. Well, comics that mean just
Yeah.
There was a comic who got arrested for a horrible crime in Oklahoma. Horrible crimes in Oklahoma, and he's being sentenced. And he got sentenced to 25 years to life in the Oklahoma prison system, and 25 years to life. And the judge said, "Does the defendant have anything to say?" And he goes, "Yes, Your Honor. Can I get a light at 15?" Because they give you the light to let you know how much time you have left on stage. Comics love just really dark. Comics trade that back and forth because Leno actually wrote the joke and he couldn't do it anywhere, but he shared it with the comics. What were Kristen McCullough's last word in the space shuttle?
Oh boy.
What's this button for?
Yeah. See, it is,
Now you can't
right.
do,
And it was like me.
can't do that
I
TV.
wasn't trying to be mean or heckle you before you came on. It's just they were just the obvious available lame puns.
Well,
The
that's
mean
part
ones
of the show, Joe. Like we're supposed to have people like you in the audience. Remember that one movie? I want to bring this for reference. I think it was like Ted 2 with Mark Wahlberg
Oh
and
boy.
obviously the little teddy bear, where they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, man, you want to go to the improv and shout out stupid stuff from the audience just to heckle?" He's like, "Let's heckle it." They go to the improv and they're like, and the one comedian is on the stage saying, "Name something that makes you laugh." He says, Robin Williams. All right, use somebody else. Who makes you laugh? Robin Williams with hairy knuckles. And they're heckling him. And the guy, obviously, you could tell is a rookie. He just kind of got into comedy, and he can't pick up, the act. He's not going along with it.
Well,
To me,
and
that's
yes,
bland.
I'm working Carnival again. They have a late night show every night. You do a couple of family friendly and a late night, 6 nights a week. They work you like a draft horse, and so in the late night show, they're drunk. They come for a verbal fist fight. I mean, I've got comic friends who won't work that run from San Pedro to Puerto Vallarta. They come after you in the late show. Once there's blood in the water, you're done.
Yeah.
So I get on stage, and the guy in the front row, right in front of me, I haven't said a word. He goes, "You suck," and everybody hears it. You can't let that go.
You do suck, Frank. I mean, you're a great guy, but you got the shittiest connections in the world, buddy.
Well, and again, some of the jokes are obvious. Like at the beginning, I wasn't trying to be insulting to Frank. Frank King. You want to book Frank King, not the one who tries to impersonate him, Frank Drag Queen.
Well, you want to book Frank King, but you don't want to book him because he has terrible Wi-Fi. You want to book him because he's a great individual.
You want to book him in person,
hey,
right? Not via Zoom. Right?
Yeah, take it up with Elon Musk. I have Starlink.
Oh shit! Did you tell me did you get the Starlink, Frank? Or?
Actually, I'm not on Starlink. I have a backup. I have AT&T wireless because I don't trust Starlink.
That's why you're on that AT&T garbage. You should go.
Hey! I've got AT&T 1 gig fiber, and it works great.
Well, you're not sounding like this, Joe. You're.
So the guy says, he screams, "You suck," and I haven't said a word. So I said, "Yeah, you fucking swallow," and I got a standing ovation.
There you go.
Now, people ask me, "How did you think to say that?" And the honest answer is, I didn't think it. When they heard it, I heard it. That's just part of my, my wiring is like that. I can heckle back without thinking. There's a woman was getting thrown out of a club in Raleigh.
Oh,
and
man.
she's at the door, almost out, and she starts turning back toward me. And I figure she must have heard something sounded like her name because drunks are voice activated. So she turns back to me. She screams, "Fuck you." I took a beat and I said, "Not even for practice." Where did it come from? I have no idea.
No, part of our human nature, like you said, the mean is almost wired in all of us. It's part of the DNA.
Yep. So anyway, that's if somebody said to me, "Frank, I've got a pill for you. One pill, one time. Never be depressed. Never have another thought of suicide. Only side effect is you're not going to think and see the world like a comic." Okay, you can keep the pill. I'll deal with the downside.
Oh, man.
And again, for those just maybe tuning in late, Frank is known as the mental health comedian. So we're trying to balance.
We're trying to bring up humor, folks. Come on, have a light in a bulb, or
the fun and the seriousness. It's a delicate, nice edge to balance here.
Frank, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I used to do a lot of stand up, in my early 20s, to kind of help pay the tuition. I do like open mics. I was horrible, but I got some good laughs. Do I still do comedy? I do. I don't do the stand-up part of it. I do more of the on-screen improving
we
with
just
my
don't ever
acting.
see. We never see any of it on this show.
No, I save it all for production work, show, because it has a higher, abroad.
It's a joke. It's a joke, people. I love him like a brother. It's just a joke.
An older brother.
And to our conversation previously about comics and woke and so forth, people ask me, do you play comedy clubs? Not unless it's part of a plea bargain.
Oh, God. That's horrible, Frank.
Well, because I just, back in the day when I started, if you didn't like the show, you went to the box office, got your money back. You didn't yell or take issue with the comedian or throw stuff or whatever. I mean, it's, the left, God bless them, bless their hearts, as we say down south. They tend to take offense, and usually it's offense on somebody else's behalf.
Awful. Affluent white female liberals.
I couldn't deal with that. I don't want to, I don't want people. I even noticed on the cruises as my cruise comedy career was winding down, that the audience, you could tell they were beginning to judge the comics as they do in comedy clubs. You'd get a ooh. And here, you know what the problem with that is? Remember I mentioned that I think comics are the canary in the coal mine? Comics' job is to speak truth to power on behalf of the powerless with humor. And so that's your job. And comics have been doing that since, back in the 50s, the Catskills. Comics in the Catskills in the 50s were making fun of the Catholic priests, and the what became the scandal, the sex scandal. Here's two jokes from the 50s about Catholic priests and altar boys. One is, how do you know when it's time to have sex in the Catholic Church? When the big hand is on the little hand. The 50s.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I got that one. I actually got that one. That was fucking hysterical.
And the other one was, how do you get a nun pregnant? You dress her up like an altar boy. Now,
and I'm Christian. I don't take offense to that. That's the problem. People can't laugh at themselves. And it's the same with music. The folk singers used to speak truth to the power. And the rappers, NWA got themselves arrested here in Detroit at Cobo Hall singing "Fuck the Police," right? And Rage Against the Machine now is part of the machine. They defend the machine. So there's that.
Yes, and the sex scandal with the priest didn't break until 40 years later. But the comics have been talking about what's the guy's name? Harvey Weinstein.
Oh yeah.
Comics were joking about
he's a pervert, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh no, there were a lot of jokes. People knew, but they didn't want to see it.
Yeah, at a lot of the awards, things they would joke about his sexual proclivities, but 20 years ahead of the Me Too before he got busted for it. Again, comics' job is to say those things out loud, so that people, regardless.
That's why I like Ricky Gervais as a host of the show.
Oh my God.
No fucking sacred cows there. He lays into everybody. I don't like some of his jokes, but hey, he's doing his job.
Yeah. Well, and if you watch Jimmy Carr out of England, Jimmy Carr, if you haven't seen him, I think Kerr, I think, amazingly funny, very topical, no sacred cows. It's and what's the guy's name from Boston? He played a pilot in The Mandalorian.
I don't know who you
mean. Big tall Irish guy.
Another one I really liked too was Eddie Izzard out of England, who
got Mark Wahlberg's from Boston. You can consider him, right?
yeah.
Well, he can do funny movies,
Well,
but he's not a
he did a
comedian.
lot of stand-up in his earlier career. I mean, you go to like SNL, you go to a few others. I think he was even part of In Living Color, but a very young Mark Wahlberg.
As
This is like when
Marky
he was
Mark.
getting into his Marky
Yeah,
Mark and the Funky
yeah.
Bunch type of thing. Yeah. Yeah. But no, Frank, comedy today is so dead. It is. I believe it's dying. It's a dying craft because there's no originality coming out of it. They're losing base. They're not your Carlins. They're not your original. Adam Sandler, I mean, was fucking hilarious when he was coming up.
Yeah.
This is before Happy Madison production shit. Like when he was doing the SNL with Patrick Swayze, when they were doing the little thing with the Chippendales. I think it was him and that heavy set guy. Who the hell is that? You know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking Chris Farley?
Chris Farley, that's it. Yeah. That was originality.
That
was funny.
I
that
don't
was
go
humorous.
to the comedy clubs anymore. I used to have one at a restaurant would do comedy routines. I've seen some of the local comics, and they're a lot of fun and funny. I want to support them. But the last main big stage comedy was at the SoundCloud at the Motor City Casino was when I saw Dennis Miller years ago. He had the flu that night.
I'm not a fan of him, Joe. I really don't. I mean, bless your heart for liking him and being a fan of him, but I don't know. But we're running low on time. I did want to plug a couple more clips here. Check this clip out. This is another clip here with Frank King, guys.
Nothing's just contemplate this. 1 million people attempt. 39,000 succeed. Succeed at what? Suicide. 39,000, that's twice the rate of homicide. As a matter of fact, annually, more people die from self-harm than homicide, natural disasters, and war combined. And practically no one is talking about it until now. If you're looking for an idea worth spreading, all you need is a tribe and a vacuum.
Yeah, what is that? What do you mean by that? A tribe and a vacuum.
It's Seth Godin, the marketing guru, because he did a TED talk, and in the TED talk he says, "Look, people ask me, how do you get a TED talk? You need a tribe and a vacuum. The vacuum is, even though one person dies by suicide every 9 minutes in the U.S., every 40 seconds worldwide, hardly anybody talks about it. That's the vacuum. And the tribe is, I have chronic suicidal ideation, which means for me and people in my tribe, the option of suicide is always on the menu as a solution for problems large and small. And I said to the audience, when I say small, my car broke down a couple of years ago. I had 3 thoughts, unbidden. 1, get it fixed. 2, buy new. And 3, I could just kill myself. That is chronic suicidal ideation. That's my tribe. So the vacuum happens every day, many times a day. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah,
and
what did you say? One of your
people.
answers, something. It's right. We don't talk about that in polite company, right? Taboos.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, on the topic is Bill Burr is the guy from Boston.
Okay.
and here's the joke that got me hooked on Bill Burr. I couldn't believe he was that funny, and I'd never heard of him before. A friend of mine recommended him. So I turned it on, and he's on YouTube, and this is the joke that got me a fan of Bill Burr. I said, I could be more like your father. So I said, okay, fuck you, I'm leaving. I'm in. And he is very original. I love watching him work because it looks like it's just coming off the top of his head when I know he's practiced it. He wrote it, he practiced it, but it looks like he's just riffing. And I mean, Jimmy Carr, if you get a chance, from England, he's got his own television show, had several television shows. He's really, people would say dirty, but intelligent. He's in Germany, and he's with a German friend, and they're in a deli, and the German friend says to him, "How come you can't get a good bagel in Germany anymore?" Jimmy Carr goes,
There's an obvious one.
yeah, Jimmy goes, whose fucking fault is that? That's the kind of thing, but very original, very topical, very political, filthy.
And you want to talk about the Holocaust. Talk about a touchy subject to joke. 9/11 is another, right? Oh boy.
Yes, and if you like dirty comedy, and I do, people go, I don't like dirty. I like really well written, dirty comedy, not gratuitously dirty, but there's a guy named Robert Schimmel, and he's now deceased, but he was a little nebbish Jewish fellow. A lot of it was self-deprecating, but just I was working with a Funny Bone in St. Louis. I was exhausted. I'd done my thing in the middle act. I was getting ready to leave. I thought, I'll watch a couple of minutes. I sat there 45 minutes. I'm crying. I mean, that's how good. And it's like sophisticated smut. He said, I taught my cat to use the toilet. The problem is in the middle of the night, I get up to use the toilet. The door's locked. The cat's in there. So I had to use a litter box. So my friend comes over the next day, takes one look at the dump in the litter box and goes, Bob, what are you raising, a fucking mountain lion? Yeah. There's there are still
what do you think about female comics, right? Because we've mentioned a bunch of male comics. Yeah. I saw, what was the woman with the facelifts?
Kathy Griffin.
No. Before her,
we were talking
known as the female Don Rickles.
Oh, Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers. I saw her in Vegas. Oh, she was hilarious. Yeah. I saw Rickles in Vegas too.
Yeah.
I was actually on Joan Rivers' short-lived talk show.
Yeah, the talk show guy. Who was he? CNN. Ted King, or what was he?
Larry
was in the
King, Joe.
Larry King.
Joe, get your notes together, buddy.
Larry King was in the audience 2 seats over from me at the Don Rickles show in Vegas, and boy, did he light his ass up. And King was very good about it, laughed at the jokes, all about his young wives and all that.
Before we close out, I want you to answer that first, Frank. But we're talking about female comics here. We're losing time. I do want to get this in real quick with you. I could talk to you for hours. So can Joe. But speaking of female comics, have you ever worked with Amy Schumer?
No, I have not.
With Amy Schumer, because there's not a lot of people that would work with her.
Yeah, well, she's got a reputation. Yeah, there's an Isa Fisher or something. I've always found her funny, although I haven't seen any.
I give credit to Goldie Hawn working with her on Snatch. It's called Snatched. It's an Amazon movie that on Amazon. I give Goldie Hawn credit because Goldie is a little bit on the labels, but she's a little bit on the right, a conservative actor, and
she's been
on the left, with that.
Goldie Hawn's kind of been a has-been for a while, so I think she'd probably be happy to be in anything. No offense, Goldie. I mean, I go back to the Laughing Days. Loved you. So
I go back to the Overboard days with her and Kurt Russell. God, man.
Yes, I was going to mention that movie. That was a funny movie. There's another one that came out fairly recently that was kind of a reboot of that.
Yeah.
Didn't go over so well.
My favorite female comic, I actually worked with her, and she used to date Lewis Black.
Oh.
Kathleen Madigan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like Kathleen. Yes.
Yeah, a little tiny Irish.
Tiny thing, yes.
Yeah.
Full of piss and vinegar, though. Yeah.
My favorite Kathleen Madigan story is she's walking down the street. They're panhandlers. And so Kathleen gives the panhandler a $5 bill. And the other comic goes, Kathleen, they're just going to spend it on cigarettes and beer. She goes, yeah, like I'm not.
Right, exactly. I knew that punchline coming. Yeah.
Yeah, she's very
another obvious one, right? But some of the best jokes are obvious punchlines.
Well, you know what? The advertising is the truth told See, advertising is the truth told well, and comedy is the truth told funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's not a
I
negative,
kind of like your tag there on the graphic here. With the whole how's it go again? Oh God, I'm so fucking lost. I need to get off. Oh, Joe, you know the tagline of Frank King. God, what the hell is it? Help me, Frank. This is where you come in, buddy.
the right person at the right time with the right information can save a life, or
We said it earlier in the program. What the hell is it, Joe? You said it, Joe.
I
Oh my God.
I've forgotten it. I don't know what you're getting at.
Great. Oh my God.
Hey, I'm here to look pretty, not make you look good.
You're killing me, Joe. Anyway, it'll come back to me. No, he has a certain tagline about death, laughter and there it is, laughter and death, or something.
Or a matter of laugh and death. Or
that's
death.
it. That's it.
A matter of laugh or death. Yes. That's a great line.
That's the line you should go by every single time you open up your shows, whether they're TED Talks or, comedy clubs or wherever the hell you're at, Frank. That's how you should open up your show.
Well, and there's a movie, it's about improv actors who go undercover for the cops because they need to bust somebody and they need people that the bad guys won't recognize. And anyway, the movie opens up with a quote on the screen. It says, "Comedy is like war. If you want to kill, you got to be willing to die."
Damn, you sounded like fucking Clint Eastwood there for a minute.
Hey, I'd like to see that movie. What's the title of that movie? Do you know?
It's improv's in there somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah,
have to IMDb it.
I have a friend out in Paris. Okay, he's got a good production going on there in Paris. He actually had Mel Gibson on. I can actually reach out to Ramald and see if he wants to, put you in a future production there for you, buddy.
Yeah, I had a SAG card for 40 years.
I didn't hear a word you said. You're going into gremlin mode again.
The internet was yeah. Michael also used to have a SAG card. Now he's just saggy.
Yeah.
Shit. No. I'm not a big fan of them because of the controversy that they get. I get all my work through talent agencies, very, very reputable, accredited talent agencies. And I get very, very good gigs from them.
What's their excuse for hiring you if they're a talent agency? But again, these are jokes, people. I love them like a brother. It's just a joke.
I would probably have the SAG card if these agencies weren't as good as they say they are. But I get stuff through Lionsgate, Universal, Amazon, MGM Productions, all over the place. So, hey, more power to you, but more power to you, Frank, for, if you got a SAG, hey, you're SAG. You're proud to be SAG. I know a lot of good people that have SAG memberships, but,
For dental insurance over 40 years, I never did get a SAG card.
And the son of a bitch is probably going to go after this interview, go right to SAG and get his payment, But I know how it works, Frank. Shit. No, but we're running low on time. Frank, I do want to say thank you for coming on. And guys, I do want to put up this graphic here for you. If you want to get his free audiobook, guys, scan this QR code for Guts, Grit, and the Grind. It's a mental mechanics manual. Basic mechanics. That's great. Explain that a little bit for the audience, Frank, so they can check out your book. But
yes, it's a book. Can you guys hear me? It's a book.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Men's mental health.
Thank you for clearing that up, Frank. We can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can,
you should have did that an hour and 18 minutes ago, but go ahead.
The two women came to me, a therapist and psychologist, because they discovered there was not a book on men's mental health, specifically men's mental health.
Okay.
And you make it funny. And I said, wait, if you ladies are going to, it's just odd because I can see it on the screen. I can see my the
You're
meter.
not freezing on your side. You froze again on our side. Yes.
Nope.
God, man, all these good people that come on the show, they're the greatest people in the world. The greatest personality.
Oh, no, he's got an Apple phone, doesn't he? Right? Apple product. We always have problems with Apple product.
It's a Mac. Yeah, it's a Mac.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I nailed it. That's it. Right? Apple products.
Hold on,
That's the
hold
problem.
on, hold the damn phone. I'm on an Apple product myself. I have an Apple monitor right next to me, and then the main camera's not an Apple. It's actually a 4K quality camera. But I mean, I'm not having problems. It must be that shitty equipment you have.
Well, no, remember the twins we had on an Apple? Sauce has been on, had problems with an Apple. Every time there's problems, it seems to be an Apple product involved.
Hey, we had a problem with that porn star we had on, but it cleared right up after 5 minutes. But thank God.
After the penicillin dose.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna try to have you plug maybe a minute if you can, Frank, without screwing up.
Hopefully it cooperates this time.
I have the graphic up just in case they can't hear him. But go ahead, Frank.
Okay, it's a book on men's mental health. There was no such thing before the two women approached me. They were going to write a book on men's mental health and asked me to make it funny. And I said, if you'll make me co-author and let me voice it for Audible. And they said, yes. So that's the first book of a 4-book series. And I do the narration.
Wow.
Cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yay! You didn't break up there. We actually heard that.
Yeah. Well, it is. It happens, guys. Thank God, the audio is still coming in. So if we do have audience that's still listening, they're listening on Spotify and other platforms. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Guys, before we get going with Frank here, I do want to mention something really quick, guys. We are going to be having a show this upcoming week. A lot of controversy catching between WWE personality Becky Lynch here on the right and the late, great Ozzy Osbourne's daughter, Kelly Osbourne, furious over this stunt that's catching headlines right now on social. So yeah.
I think she's overreacting and trying desperately to insert herself. I didn't see any dig at Ozzy. I saw homage to Hulk Hogan in the statement.
Well, I want to get Frank's insights on this too, because there is some comedy that went into it. Obviously, folks, they were in Birmingham, in the UK. There, a very large city in UK. A lot of roots and stuff go towards the Osbourne family. Like fucking. There we go.
Shit talk fell over, huh?
Yeah. Anyway, but no. A lot of roots go to the Osbourne family with Ozzy, and I get the bit that WWE was trying to play, but did they go a little too far, Frank? You think? I don't know if you caught that. You're a comedian. I don't know if it caught your headlines there, but
no, it didn't. I'm not a big WWE,
Nor am I. Yeah, nor am I.
Yeah, the general WWE audience is, race bait and homophobic, who thinks wrestling is real and the Holocaust is fake.
Come on, brother. What are you going to do? No, I'm just joking. Anyway.
Send your letters to Frank King, not Savaged Unfiltered.
You're killing me. You're killing me. Thanks very much, Frank, for coming on, guys. You can check him out at all over the place. You're on YouTube. You're on. You used to be on Twitter. I don't see you on Twitter anymore. You're not a big fan of Twitter? That's where it's happening.
I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk. I went to Blue Sky.
Oh, okay. So you stick with YouTube, right? You stick with
YouTube, Facebook, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's my big platform, business to business.
That makes sense for the TED Talk stuff. Absolutely.
Yep.
Just not the
sensible place
you're
to
not
be.
a big fan of X because of Musk. But, hey.
Yeah, I mean, did away with USAID, probably killed 300,000 people around the world. I got a bone to pick.
Hold on. Hey, Elon, you hear that? Come on over. I'm just joking. He's not here. No. Did you see his face? He's like, holy shit, man. No. No. Good stuff. But we're going to close it out. Thank you very much. One more time, Frank, for those that can check you out on your website. If you want to plug anything, floor is yours, sir.
Actually, let me close out if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
We could hear you,
Yep.
Frank. Well, you're shitty
This is
on
our-
Wi-Fi, but go ahead.
For now, we can. For now.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe and tell your friends. If you did not enjoy this podcast, we hope you have no friends.
Yeah.
Did you get that, Joe?
Yeah, I
Joe,
like
did you get
that.
that?
That
Write
was
that
good.
down. We got his permission to use that soundbite. No,
We got to
Yes,
we
please.
got to make that as a Savage clip. Yes.
don't worry, Frank. You'll get all the royalties when it gets aired on Spotify. No, thanks very
actually,
much, Frank. Yeah,
You're welcome to use it. You're welcome to use it.
Oh, appreciate that. Well, thanks very much, Frank, for coming on, and the best of luck, man, going forward with you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, like the joke at the beginning where I was being earnest that I didn't like you. I like you a lot better now.
I wish I could say the same.
Oh, there we go.
Boom!
Blah, blah, blah. Great. Good one. I can take the fucking joke.
So Joe, what do you think? What did you think of Frank, man? Before we kind of close out here.
No, I enjoyed him. I mean, again,
it's just crappy internet, but yeah,
but very touchy subject, and I like that he's approaching it through humor and indeed educating. Project 22, you can look up again. 22 veterans a day. I think it's up to 24 now. Commit suicide. I touch on it in Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You. Being a suicide attempt survivor myself, I don't like talking about it, but I feel I must talk about it because others out there need to hear it. And so I appreciate Frank being on. I'm
breaking my own rules. I'm pulling a Rogan. I think we're going in like almost 90 minutes here, but anyway, guys. But so check out this upcoming episode we'll be doing with the Kelly Osbourne / Becky Lynch fiasco that's catching social right now with the Ozzy comment. I want to talk about that because I think the WWE writers went a little overboard on that show. With his death, saying that I would die too if I lived in Birmingham. That's a little too far, because the reason why I say that, Joe, is because Ozzy
I didn't hear all of it. I didn't hear that part of it. So I can understand the reaction then.
Well, Ozzy went way too far with the not Ozzy, excuse me. Oh. Becky Lynch went way too far with that statement because Ozzy, here comes the Ozzy now. That's where I had it backwards, folks. Ozzy was affiliated with WWE programming throughout many, many episodes of Monday Night Raw and, premium live events. So to kind of mock his legacy and his life on TV for clicks and views and clickbait. Yeah. That's kind of fucked up, Joe.
She wanted to pay homage to Hulk Hogan over Ozzy. To me, I'm not a WWE fan either, as Frank was saying, but I appreciated and loved the Hulk Hogan persona as a person who likes music. I loved Ozzy's music. I saw him a couple times in concert. The Ultimate Sin Tour I thought was absolutely fantastic. But the whole Prince of Darkness negativity as opposed to Hulk Hogan positivity. So I get some preferring the one over the other. I was a fan of both.
I don't know. I think it's just disrespect to the family.
It was.
I get the entertainment. I get that they're based on comedy now, but that's not comedy. That's not entertainment.
You didn't have to tear down Ozzy to try to lift up Hulk.
No, don't tear him down when he played a part of storylines on TV with you guys. Don't do that. That's fucked up. So check that out this week, guys. We're also bringing back Meow Man this week. Meow Man has some explaining to do. His eyes look a little glazy in this latest poster that he sent me.
One last thing about Frank, you could tell he's a leftist. The USA dig. Hey, Frank, You want to help people? Fucking pony up some of your own money. You don't get to steal it from the rest of us.
Uh-oh. Joe poking out a comedian. Poking at those comedians, Joe. This is the third comedian you're poking at.
U.S. aid? Fucking create your own charity. U.S. aid, raise your own fucking money. You don't get to steal it from taxpayers. Nobody died. You could have ponied up money when the aid went away, but most of these firms are left-wing money laundering firms. And most of that money never went to who they said it would. It went in their pockets. Do charitable giving. That is, and 90% of the actual money goes to where it says it is, to feed hungry people or whatnot, rather than 90% of it fucking in the pockets of the leftards running the organization.
This had been a Truth Productions media episode. Thank you for listening.